Hi, this is Boris. You are listening to Achieve Success Like Jesus podcast, where we are talking about personal development. It is great to have you here. In this podcast, I look at the words and actions of Jesus of Nazareth. Why? You probably know who he is, despite him being born 2000 years ago. What made him so successful in the long term? That's what I'm looking at. Whatever your worldview is, if you want to get better at something, this podcast is for you. Matthew chapter 7 verses 3 to 5. Why do you see the speck that is in your brother's eye, but do not notice the log that is in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when there is the log in your own eye? You hypocrite! First take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye. Today we are taking into account another wise statement of Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount. Jesus illustrates the example of two people here. A listener, like you and me, and our brother. If, like me, you don't have a biological brother, don't worry. I think we can swap brother for anyone. Gender isn't important either. Jesus cares for both people, so he doesn't sweep the truth under the carpet and boldly says the truth. Both people have a problem. Something is in their eye. I don't know about you, but my eyelashes are quite often falling into my eye and it's quite bothersome. Here a speck falls into your brother's eye. Although it's small, it should not be there. But that is nothing compared to a next thing coming. We, the listener, also have something in our eye, but not a speck. A huge piece of wood, a log. Well, I think even a small log wouldn't fit into the eye socket of the big-eyed anime or manga characters, but Jesus uses this exaggeration on purpose. He wants to show that the problem with us is a problem more important than the problem with the other person. What is the conclusion? When it comes to taking it out, the log has a much higher priority than the speck. And where is the log? It's in your eye. We should start with ourselves. How to understand it in practice? Once a friend of mine told me words that I remember very well. They were, be the change you want to see in the world. Jesus wants to give us a similar piece of advice. You don't have to look far to see that the world we live in is not a Disneyland. Just watch any news. Diseases, crime, injustice, poverty, corruption, death, hunger, waste, stupidity. All this has been bothering us for centuries. No doubt about it. So what? The world won't change easily, but there's a part of the world where we have a lot to say when it comes to changing it. It's us. I can make decisions about me, and you can make decisions about you. What I think Jesus wants to tell us is that you should not focus on others, blaming them for your problems. Of course, the world influences you in a bad way sometimes, but don't focus on the world. Focus on yourself. It should be you who makes the decision today to take life into your own hands. It's you who should continually become the better version of yourself. As my friend said, be the change you want to see in the world. Speaking in the language of Jesus, first take the log of your eye. Then you will see through, and it will be easier for you to help others. Exactly. Starting with yourself does not mean being selfish. Jesus says not to stop taking the log out of your eye, but continue the good work and remove the speck from your brother's eye. So, if you've already taken care of yourself and you can have a good influence on people around you, then don't hesitate, go help them. But start with yourself first. Why? Because you can do much more in yourself than in others. By working on yourself, you can get rid of a huge log. Don't waste your time removing specks when you can remove this big piece of wood much easier. I will repeat, make a decision that you'll take full responsibility for your life. Be the change you want to see in the world. Start with yourself. Okay, so much theory, but how to put it into practice? I will use the example of my life decision. By the way, I live in Poland, so some things or their terminology may be different than at your place. I spent the first year of my university years at the University of Technology. Unfortunately, technical matters never attracted me. The peak of my capabilities in this area was to replace the batteries in the TV remote control. So my studies were frustrating to me and it seemed like a waste of time, including a waste of university's time on me because I was not doing well there. I realized that I had made my choice of choosing my course by following the crowd. I started to think seriously about changing my studies. I've lived away from my family home for almost a year, so I slowly started to realize that I was responsible for my life, no one else. What happened back then was a very important process of changing my mindset. As I discovered in high school that I really like foreign languages, I wanted to study them. My parents love me very much and want the best for me, so when they heard about my ideas, they were not thrilled. Here in Poland, graduating from a University of Technology is theoretically a better start into your professional career compared with a university degree. We had a serious conversation with my parents, and despite their requests to think it over and change my mind, I decided to make the mature decision about myself. Quit the University of Technology. And I did it. What happened? I didn't regret it. I have been enjoying my studies for 3 years. I became fluent in German, which I use at my work daily now. Owning the decision-making responsibility pays off. Taking this opportunity, I'd like to hereby give thanks to my sponsors, that is, to my parents and the taxpayers back then for money, and to Jesus for wisdom. Thank you very much. A few extra words of explanation. Do I want to use this example to encourage you not to listen to your parents? No, they probably care about you and say a lot of smart things. Do I mean that you have to change your studies if you don't like it? Not necessarily. Sometimes that might be the wrong thing to do. What I want to encourage you to do is to take responsibility for your life and all decisions in it. Easy decisions we make every day, and the rare but more important ones, for example about studies, work, or relationships. It's time to apply the knowledge, my dear listener. As I mentioned in the previous episode, the secret sauce of success is not knowing stuff, but making use of it. I now have a few questions for you that can help you to take a specific step in the right direction. Have you made a mature decision that you take life into your own hands and want to live intentionally? Have you realized already that your life is not driven only by the influence of your parents, society, environment, schools, country and its political system, economy and prospects of where you live? No, you have great decision-making power. I encourage you to make a decision today that you don't want to blame anyone else for where you are. The world can be bad, I know, even horrible, but getting offended and complaining about it will make no good. Make up your mind and take responsibility for the rest of your life. Start with yourself. Be the change that you want to see in the world. Take the log out of your eye and leave dealing with specks in others for later. I will give you a moment for consideration and making a decision. Okay, I hope you made this decision just now or some time ago already. So, now, as a fully mature and responsible person, consider what will be the first of many wise decisions you will make. Think about it and put it into practice today. Good luck! Thank you for listening to the podcast Achieve Success Like Jesus. If you heard something useful, it's certainly Jesus. The rest comes from me. If you have any ideas how to improve this podcast, please leave me a comment wherever you're listening. I will be very thankful for your opinions and sharing the podcast with others. You can also go ahead and send me an email at achievesuccesslikejesus@gmail.com. And if you're looking for something more in life and you would like to know what the real message of Jesus' words and actions is, then please visit www.jesus.net. That's it for today. Please remember to put the knowledge into action and don't forget to enjoy the rest of the day.